Hi, welcome to Diving into Deep Waters. I'm your host, Erin Rowling, and we are going to have a tale today, a tale of two cats and a dog, which some of you are like, wait a second, Erin, you're not even an animal person, which you would be correct. I am not an animal person. I never have been. Well, I'll take that back. I've loved one dog in my life. And actually, I can't say that, I guess, as much because my daughter and son-in-law's dog, she's worming her way into my heart, and my kids would probably tell you that I also love my cats even though I won't admit it. So, but I never thought I would do a podcast on animals, but here we are because that's life. And I've had a lot of animals in my life, and so here we go. If you're not an animal person, no worries. Don't turn me off. Don't be like, well, what can I learn from an animal? Actually, the Lord says to look at the ants, watch the birds of the air. Animals can teach us things. And so don't turn me off. Don't tune me out. Because if probably one of the most unanimal people on the planet, can learn something, you can as well. So we're in this together. So this is how it all started. So my daughter called me and said to me, hey, would you like Teddy, our grandpuppy? Would you like her for the weekend? And I was surprised that she asked us because like I said, we're not the biggest animal people on the planet. And I don't know. I guess I wondered, does she trust us? Does she trust us to take care of her baby? Because she loves dogs and has since she was little and all of those things. But I'm like, this is her baby. I would maybe have preferred a phone call that said, hey, do you want to watch your grandbaby? I'm waiting for that day, but we have a grandpuppy, so we'll have to take that for now. And so she asked, and we're like, of course, we will take her for a few days. And on our way to go get her, I said to Paul, I said, do we know how to take care of a dog? And he's like, nope. He just said it so matter of factly, like, nope, we don't. And I'm like, can we keep her alive? And he's like, yeah, I think so. I think we can do it. Now, maybe you're like, why would you ask that question? Well, let me tell you why I would ask that question, because we have tried the whole dog thing, and not just once, not just twice, but I'd say, well, 3 times, but with 4 different dogs. Let me tell you about it. So the first one we got, she was a dachshund, I think, long-haired dachshund. Her name was Essie, which is that not the cutest name ever? Because I love Esther in the Bible. Done a podcast on her, but she was cute, but she's a puppy, okay? And I mean, I even talked to people who are animal people, and they're like, not doing the puppy thing. It's a lot of work. And so we got her for our girls, and then I found out I was pregnant. And I was sick. I was not feeling great. And we had just bought a new dining room table. It's a first purchase. We had actually bought something, and no, I guess we bought couches. I take that back. But it was our first dining room table that we had bought that wasn't used. We kept buying used ones, which they were great. And so we actually had it custom made and everything. And that dog started biting the little things on the chairs. I don't know what they're called, but I want to say dwindles, but that's not spindles. The little spindles on the chairs. And I was sitting there so nauseous. And she's like, "Ah, ah, ah," on it. And I was just I called Paul, take it back. Take it back. And he goes, what? I'm like, take the dog back. I cannot do this. And I don't know. I guess I should ask my girls if that was traumatic or not, but she went back, and the breeder lived next door to us. It wasn't a big deal. So I was like, you can still see her. You can still go over there. Someone bought her. So actually that wasn't true. I apologize for that, children. And then we were at someone's house, and they had an older dog. Okay. So I was like, maybe we're just not puppy people. Maybe we're just older dog people. And they were like, she is potty trained. Like, cause I did not do great with that. And I thought, well, that's that's a good start, like potty trained. So they're like, how about you take her for, I think she was a German Shepherd. She was a mutt, but a German Shepherd, a rescue, rescuing dogs. I felt pretty good about myself. But let's do a trial run, which they were so smart because I told them, like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. And they were like, we'll do a trial run. And she was a great disposition, but the fact that they said she was potty trained was a lie. She was not potty trained. I don't know how many times she piddled in that. And a larger dog has larger piddles, you guys. And I mean, not piddles, like all out pee sessions. And it wasn't like I wasn't taking her out or anything like that. I was on top of it. And I had a crawling baby, I believe, at the time. Abby was crawling. I slid through more puddles of pee and almost broke my neck because we had like ceramic tile. So, and if it got wet, it got super slippery. And I just called them. I was like, you need to come pick up this dog. This is not going to work. And so you would think after two chances, the puppy, bigger dog, we should not have tried it again. But Amanda has always loved dogs. And I felt bad that I didn't love them. I wanted her to have dogs. And so we did find these people we thought, dachshunds are little dogs, but we went smaller than that. They were, okay, you guys are going to laugh when I say it because you're like, Erin, it was Chihuahua mixed with something else. I don't remember what it was, but they were little. They were cute. Their names were Charlie and Lola. I mean, from the little show that my kids used to watch. They were cute. They were adorable. Because you could just put them in this little pen with the pee pad. They stayed there, except for Abby. Abby loved them, but she loved them to death. Like, she would hold that. Mom, I hold. And so I would give her the puppy, but I'd make her sit down. Okay, I was being smart about it. But when she decided she was done, which I think I had her sit on the couch, not a wise decision, she would just take the puppy and not even say, I all done or anything like that, or done or nothing. She would just take the puppy and throw it. And it would just they're tiny. So like a fall from a couch is going to break their leg. And then she would hug them so tight that I was like, she's going to suffocate it. We're going to go get the puppy out of her hands and it's going to be dead. So maybe this is not a good idea. So my neighbors who were raised puppies and sold them, I sent the girls over with the puppies. Probably very traumatic again. Again, children, I apologize. Your mother had no business trying the dog thing, and it didn't work out any time. So when I say that I was a little nervous, my daughter's probably listening and going, oh my gosh, if I'd only known my mom was nervous about taking my dog. It's not because I don't love your dog, honey. It's because mom wasn't sure that she could take care of it properly and give it back to you alive. That was worry. I've raised 4 children, got them, they're all alive, but I was nervous about the dog. And so now you know why. She's like, that is the last time that I'm asking my mom to take. No, she came home. Okay, so Anyways, so back to picking up Teddy. We met them halfway to pick her up, and it's so funny because they were telling us the details. They knew they needed to write them down, and they did. They sent us the whole thing, which was super, super helpful because, Paul and I both took care of her. Our kids even helped. Joe very begrudgingly took care of her because we had a tournament. She couldn't be in her crate all day. So I was like, Joe. And he was like, kill me now. He did fine. He did good, actually. He actually sent a photo to the group chat, to our family chat. So I was like, you survived, son. It was fine. And we started off home. They were telling me she's going to cry. When we leave, she's going to cry. I just am happy to report she didn't whine at all. She did one little whine when we got close to our house. But when her parents left, she did not whine. because she knew her papa and Mimi. She had more faith in us than we had in ourselves. And she was like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have a great time. So we get her home and it, well, let me just say this first. I have also realized that puppies or dogs require as much stuff as children do. You know, like when you go on a trip and you're packing, if you're a mom, and you're packing all this stuff, and it's literally like, because you think of every scenario that could possibly happen. What do you need for that? I mean, Teddy came with everything. She had her crate, she had her, of course, her water dish and her food dish, which the food dish is really cool. Like they do it. I'm like, what is up with the food dish? Because there's like these things in it and stuff. And Amanda's like, it's so that she doesn't scarf down her food. Brilliant. Whoever did that made some money off of that. And, her poop bags and her leash and her bells for the door. And then like all of her toys, of course, her brush, which I didn't brush her till the last day before she went to go see her parents. Shh, don't tell Amanda. Matt was like, we haven't brushed her. I don't know how often they brush her, but she loves it. She literally loves it. And I wish I would have known that because we would have done that more. And what else did she have? They had shirts for her for inside of her crate and her blankets, and then they cover her crate. And it was so funny because Paul put her to bed the first night and he goes, it says on the thing that ocean sounds. He goes, we don't have any ocean sounds for her. He was all concerned. I was like, we have a fan. The fan will work just fine. He was like, okay. I just was trying to figure out ocean sounds. He was sweet. And actually that first night, they were adorable. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we get her here and I don't know if no, I have walked her when she was little, but she's getting bigger. And let me tell you what, I think she's 7 months, 8 months. Amanda's correcting me right now as I'm saying this, but she is so strong. Like, I will say that I took her for a walk, but that is not how that went. Teddy took me for a walk. At one point, I thought because she like jerked and my arm went like whoop, and I was like, that could have been bad. That I could have just like undone my shoulder right there because she's so strong. But we got her home, and first thing we get in the door after we walked her and she peed and all that stuff, she was everywhere. I mean, she was like scoping out our house. She was sniffing everything, which obviously this is a different home, different people, all of those things. I expected that. But literally, we weren't in the house for 2 seconds and she found an egg for Easter. And I'm like, what is in your mouth? And she's like, got this egg that I have to fish out of her mouth. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she went right to the kids' rooms, which the kids, they're teenagers. I don't know about your teenagers, but mine aren't the cleanest beings on the planet. Actually, they clean their rooms quite often, and literally hours later, it looks like they did nothing. I don't understand it, but whatever. And so she was in like heaven, stuff heaven, finding whatever she possibly could. So we had to close their doors because I was like, this is not going to work for Mimi. Mimi needs you to not be absolutely everywhere. And so she also found a foil wrapper. I mean, she was like gagging, and I'm like, what is going on with you? And it was left over from the kids' Easter candy. Probably they were eating their Easter candy on their bed and they, threw it on the ground, and Teddy found it. And so I'm fishing foil. I'm like, if this dog throws up, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle that. I don't know. She didn't. Thankfully, she didn't throw up anything. And if that's not the only thing that she found, let's go with she found a dead bird. She was taking me around for a little walk, and I see her sniffing a bunch of leaves, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I've seen her eat leaves before, so this is normal. And we're walking around the yard, and all of a sudden I see like little feet, like clawy things out of her mouth. And I'm thinking, what is that? And so I get close to her to inspect, and I'm like, it's a bird. She has a bird in her mouth. And so I start screaming my head off her paw. Paw comes out. He opens her mouth. There's a whole bird, not like some of a bird, a whole bird in her mouth. And so Paul's like, pull it out, pull it out. And I'm like, I'm like, ooh, ooh. I was like, ooh. I'm like, I cannot do it. And he's like, Aaron, I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't. It wasn't the bird. It was the claws. I couldn't. That part was more than I could handle. And so finally, he goes, you open her mouth and I'll pull it. And he did. He swooped it out of her mouth. I was like, are you kidding me? So, of course, I walk into the house, I get the phone, and I call her parents. I'm like, do you know what your puppy just did? She just tried to eat a whole bird. And Frank's laughing hysterically. And I'm thinking, this is not funny that she just tried to consume a bird on my watch. So, yeah, anyways, that was, and also the thing with puppies, and some of you are like, Erin, we know all these things. I'm just telling you my experience, okay? Is that she follows us, everywhere. Everywhere we went, she was just like, she would lay down once in a while, but as soon as you would move, she was like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What are we going to see? And it just reminded me of a toddler, because even like I went into the bathroom and I couldn't get the door shut fast enough for her not to come in. So there I am peeing, and there she is sitting like, what you doing? What you doing, Mimi? And I was like, wow, this takes me back to being a mom of toddlers, and you go into the bathroom and never by yourself. It never happens, because even if you try to do that, they start crying. So you open the door, you let them in, and you're like, oh, well, this is just how this is going. So I was like, Teddy. So it's so fun being stared at by a dog. I already have issues going. I already have like, what is it called? I'm trying to think of what it's called. Like, I can't think of the word. Like, pee, not fear. I don't have fear of peeing, but like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? This is going to drive me nuts. I will remember it and we'll come back to that, whatever it's called. Yeah, because I can't think of it. Maybe I won't remember. I'll tell you in the next podcast because I'll look it up. But pee fright? I don't know. That's not the word. Some of you are like, move on, Erin. You know, when you can't think of something, it's going to drive you nuts. And it's like, I need to know what it is, and I can't think of what it is, but it's okay. So we'll pee fright, not pee fright. You guys are, oh my gosh. And you guys are yelling at it. I feel it. I feel like you're yelling. And then I can't hear you. So like, yeah. Oh well. So, I finally, the first day she was here, I got her settled down. Like I was sitting in the chair, and I had plans for that day. None of them got done because I didn't want her to eat something she shouldn't. I was worried and everything. So finally, I'm in the recliner. She's laying on top of me, and she's like, she nuzzles in, she's quiet, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna have some quiet time, a little nap maybe, And then Paul walks in the door, and she's like, whoop, okay, what's going on? And, oh, hi, Papa. And I was like, Paul, I just got her settled down, and now you're bringing her in, and blah. So, but she loves her Papa. She loves to cuddle with him. And actually, at that night, she was laying on him in his recliner. She likes to be on whoever's in the recliner, she likes to be there. And so Paul was like sprawled out, snoring. She was on top of him, completely sprawled out, just sleeping. And I just left them there. I was like, he can put her in her cage when she's done, because they were so sweet. It was so sweet. She got to take her Aunt Abby to school, which I think by the time Abby was like, yeah, that'd be fun for her to take me to school because she has like this little leash in the car that connects her, which is kind of cool. And like this whole map thing that goes down in the car. I'm like, I needed one of these when I had toddlers, which I think they came out with those later, not when my kids were little, my older ones were little. But, anyways, but it was an eventful morning because she had, so we closed all our doors. So every time we come in and out of our bedrooms, she gets excited. If you know, you know. And, she's kind of like an old lady who pees her pants all the time. she she tinkles. She tinkles a little bit, not like a full pee or anything, but she has a little tinkle. My daughter's like, you're exposing my puppy. You all know, I've known lots of dogs. They're like, people are like, don't touch them until they're like accustomed to you because they're going to tinkle. It's just a thing. I think it's more in girl dogs, which makes sense because as you get older, you tinkle a little bit here and there. And so she tinkled every time we came out of our door. So we were on it. We had paper towel laying around just to wipe it up. We have like laminate floors, so no big deal. All right, no problem. And Abby is like rushing around getting ready, but she'd go in her room and then she'd come out and then Teddy would tinkle. And then Abby would go in her room and then come out and then Teddy would tinkle. And so I was trying to keep up with it. But I was like packing Abby's lunch and all this other stuff. And Abby's like walking, she's all ready. And then she goes, oh my gosh, I just stepped in her pee. And I was like, oh, okay, just go get another pair of socks. But she hasn't taken care of her laundry. So it was in the laundry room, which I can't say anything because I have a couple loads down there myself right now. And she gets a new pair of socks on, comes upstairs. Oh my gosh, I just did it again. How I missed 2 spots, I don't know, but I did. And so finally was like, put on your socks and put on your shoes. So normally I hate shoes in the house. We do not do shoes in this house unless it's, once in a while. But this time I was like, put your shoes on because we need to go. And we took Abby to school, and my gosh, did she whine. She did not whine when her parents left, but she loves Abby. She loves Abby. She loves her papa. She loves her Mimi too. I don't know if she loves Joe. But anyways, she was just like, I mean, just whining so much. I was like, Abby is coming back. Don't you worry. It's fine. It was so, so sweet. Now, you're like, that's all been all about the dog. Listen, she is my grandpuppy. And I know that you grandparents, you love your grandkids and you want to tell everybody about them. So I want to tell you about my grandpuppy. But here is where you're like, Erin, you said that this was a tale of 2 cats and a dog. Well, this is where the 2 cats come in. And I was actually thinking, oh, I could show the cats on the podcast. Nope, because they will distract me. So anyways, we have 2 of them. There's Appa and Zuko, which, okay, here's the first thing. Why do we have 2 cats? I will never know. How my kids got me to get 2 cats, I will never know. But here we are, we have 2 cats. Appa and Zuko, I've said their names before, and they're named after the last airbenders. I don't know if I've told you that or not. If I have, dismiss it. Chances of me saying things multiple times on these podcasts is probably more than probable going to happen. So anyways, I don't know what the airbender is still. Like, I've seen clips of it. When my kids named them that, I was like, I think they weren't even allowed to watch that. Which makes me think that they must have watched that without their mother knowing. Which they like to tease me. Mom, remember when you didn't let us watch this? And remember when you didn't let us do this? And remember, whatever, you're alive. Anyways, we can't say that no, I didn't kill any dogs. They just didn't last in our house. And the fact that you all remained in the home, I guess is I'm doing pretty good. So, anyways, now Teddy has been in our house before 2 other times. The first time she came, she was a very new puppy. And so Amanda and Frank had like a whole like gate thing for her, and like she stayed in that area unless, and it was by the door, so she went out the door, she came in the door, she stayed it in the gate unless someone was holding her. So our cats were like, not, she was so contained, they didn't really pay attention to her. I think Zuko, maybe the boy cat, went up to the cage to kind of sniff her out, but there was a cage, there was a barrier. Now, the second time she came, she was getting more trained and stuff, but they kept her on the leash. So it was basically, I mean, Appa didn't love it, and pretty much she hid for the 3 days they were here, and she didn't come out till 3 days after they left. I don't know if she was like, I do not trust that that dog is gone, and so I will stay here. Wherever that was that she decided to stay, it was somewhere in the basement. She was not having it. And Zuko kind of hissed a little bit, but again, she was on her leash, so it wasn't like a big deal. The kids kept her. Someone always had the leash inside of the house, so we could always know where she was. This time, her coming to visit us, she's full rein, except for the basement. The first day, she made her way down to the basement, ate all the cat food, and then Abby tells me, well, my friend's dog ate all the cat food and then puked all over the place, which I was like, sweet Jesus, please, okay? Please, let's not do that. And she was fine. She didn't. And someone told me their dog eats their cat food all the time. So we're fine. So we put a barrier between her and the basement, and which was good for the cats. But so when she first came in and she had free reign, and I don't think our cats were expecting that. And so Zuko, like, he has a place under our coffee table in our living room, and she, of course, can fit under there. And she was like, whoa, what are you? Let's figure you out. And Zuko went nuts. I mean, thank goodness he does not have front claws, because he lunged at Teddy and it was not good. And so I had to like pick him up. And then I was actually a little afraid of him. I'm not going to lie, because they hiss at each other, but they never hiss at us. And I was like, he's in attack mode. Is he going to attack me when I pick him up? Which, let me just tell you this. If he did, that's the last day he'd be in this house. But he didn't. I picked him up and I put him downstairs. And Paul's like, I still hear him. I still hear him like hissing. So he's like, I think it's coming out of the vent from downstairs. So I lean over and I hear hissing, but it's Appa. She is stuck or trapped behind the window and the curtain. It's cold. So I think she'd been there for a while. She was like, I'm not coming out, but she was hissing. And so I picked her up and took her downstairs, but all of this happening just gave me pause. And I started to observe and think about what I was seeing play out before my very eyes. And because it's like, Zuko, this time around, like, I think he was like, had this, I don't know, air or determination. I don't know what it was exactly, but he was like, I am not about to be inconvenienced by this dog. It was almost like he walked around and acted like, this is my domain. I am the alpha here, and you are not. And I'm not about to change my lifestyle because you have entered my space. And he also let Teddy know very much, like, which is funny to me because Teddy is about 10 times the size of Zuko. Zuko weighs like 8 pounds or something. He has more fur, but he's tiny. He doesn't weigh very much. And he was like, I have my spot in the dining room. He has a chair that he likes. He likes to lay on the vent, the heat duct, which I'm pretty sure I heat my cats, not our bodies, because they take all of our heat. Love those cats. Anyways, Anytime Teddy would get near him, he was like, I will stand my ground. I mean, literally, he would sit there and just hiss at her, like, nope. And then there was Appa, sweet Appa, which if you've ever met Appa, she is a sweet girl. She loves me more than I love her. And she loves to sit with me. If I'm sitting, she needs to be in my lap, just like a toddler. So cats are also toddlers. And I mean, she found herself trapped. She would come upstairs and then all of a sudden she'd be like, oh no, Teddy. Or I would take Teddy outside and I think she thought she's gone so I can come out. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh my gosh, nope, she's still here, and just be like trapped behind a chair because it was like she was immobilized basically. Whenever Teddy came near her, it was like she went into like found a spot that she could hide from her and then just would stay there. Not even tried to make an attempt to get away from her. It was at one point she was popping her head up over the couch because it's by the window. And Teddy's on the couch like, hey. And Appa's like, hissing. I have it on video. It's actually pretty funny because Appa's just like, I'm like, you probably could jump and get away from her and get downstairs. But no, I rescued her every single time. So, but two cats with two different stances. I don't know, it just really stuck out to me because I think we can either be like Zuko or we can be like Appa in our everyday living. And it's like, especially when we feel threatened, we can either retreat or we can be bold. And I think often when we feel threatened or trapped, or I think a lot of times our response is more like Appa, where we are like freeze and we're like, or like find that little spot that we can hide in, or be like Appa who didn't come out for 3 days or ever. And I realized like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like Appa. I love you, Appa. I just said I love her. Can you believe I said that? I said I love her. I said that to make her feel better. Anyways, but I want to be more like Zuko, who's like firm, like, no. Just because you've entered, just because you're taking up my space, doesn't mean that I need to change anything that's going around me. I do not feel threatened by you, even though you're 10 times bigger, the situation is 10 times bigger surrounding us, whatever is happening. It's like, no, this is my space, and no thank you. It's kind of funny because I bought Teddy a toy. I'm going to be in trouble when I'm a grandparent because I was at the store and I was like, this is on sale. And I know like she likes squeaky things. And I was like, oh, I need to get it for Teddy. I was like, I'm going to buy a lot of things when I have a grandkid. Honey, don't worry. It's going to be fine. But she basically destroyed it in like 2 hours because she loved it so much. I sent a video to Frank and Amanda and they were like, she loves it. And I was like, of course she does because her Mimi got it for her. But I was playing catch with her and I threw it, I was throwing it and Teddy would run and go get it and bring it back to me. And of course, do the whole thing like, no, you can't have it. Oh, you can have it. Oh, no, you can't have it. Oh, I guess you can have it, but throw it again. Whole thing. And so I throw it and I didn't realize Zuko was doing his little stance thing like, what is going on? And checking us out or whatever. And it landed right next to Zuko. So Teddy takes off to go get it, gets by Zuko. I wish I had it on video because literally she got close to Zuko, saw Zuko, and like, whoa, no. Leave the toy, leave it, because Zuko was there. And it was just like, she was afraid of Zuko, I think, because of all the times that he has hissed at her and made his presence known and made her know, like, listen, I'm the top dog here. I'm not a dog, but I'm the top dog here, and I'm letting you know. And it made me think, though, that whole little situation there made me think, what if I stand my ground so well with the enemy, when he starts coming at me and I'm like, excuse me, this is my space. You have no business being here right now. Move along. If the enemy was like, starts coming at me and is like, oh, nope, not her. Nope, 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 nope. She's not going to have it. Oh my gosh. How amazing would that be? Where the enemy is like, I'm not going to mess with that person. Because anytime that I try to mess with them, they take a stance. They are bold. They're not moving. They're not going to be bothered with my presence. Think about it. It reminded me of one of the most popular Bible stories. And actually, I thought, because I'm like, of course, what can I equate this to in the Bible? Because that's what we do. And I thought, this story, we know this story. And I was like, but it really is perfect. I couldn't probably find a better example in the Bible than this story. So it's the story of David and Goliath. Most of you know it. Maybe you don't. But just in case you don't, it's actually found in 1 Samuel 17. Go read it. Go check it out. I actually did a podcast. We did it. I don't remember the name of it. Should have looked that up. But I actually preached it and then did a podcast on it because I loved it so much. And so, yeah, you can go check that out. You can find it somewhere. At Diving into Deep Waters, somewhere. So basically, there's this Philistine army that is taunting the Israelites. Okay. They're relentless in their taunting. And Goliath is the Philistine, right? And he is shouting at them and challenging them, like, send me a man who can fight me, basically, kind of thing. Like, who's your best man? Send him out. It's going to be a shrimp compared to me. That is not in the Bible. Okay. I just want to make sure you're like, where does it say he's a shrimp? No. But he's huge compared to all of these Israelites. Like, nobody is as big as Goliath. And he freaks them out so much that the Bible actually says that they were dismayed and terrified. Who does that remind you of? Little Miss Appa. And he does this. We had Teddy in our house for 3 days. Like, Appa was terrorized. Not really, but she felt terrorized by Teddy for 3 days. Goliath is doing this for 40 days. So talk about being tired of hearing this guy talk and yell at them. So this is happening at the battlefield. David's brothers are in the army, but David's at home because he's younger. And his father's like, hey, David, I want you to go check on your brothers. I think he wanted him to check on him, but also like, what's going on? What's happening? I'd like to know. And so David does. He goes. And while he's talking to his brothers, Goliath comes out for his daily taunt and is yelling at them. And David sees everyone around him basically like they're just like having great fear. They're probably shaking. They're probably like, we're so sick of this, but more than like not sick of it, like, let's do something about this because we're sick of this. Like, we're sick of this, and I guess we have to continue to deal with this, like Miss Appa. So, and of course, they start to justify their actions. He's huge, he's this, he's that. All the reasons why they can't go fight them. And if you think about it, there's one Goliath and there's a whole Israelite army. Obviously, I'm sure Goliath was backed by men, but I mean, how many men would it take to take down Goliath? I don't know, but I think a sufficient amount could be left over to fight the rest of the Philistines. Just saying. But I wasn't there. It's, maybe I would have been scared too. Anyways, and David asked them, he says, what will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this great disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should divide our armies of the living God? Now, David's comment doesn't go over real well with his brothers. And they're like, it makes them mad. Let's just spell it out. They're furious with him. And they're like, it actually says that they burned with anger. They were annoyed with him. They were angry with him. And they basically are like, what do you know, David? You're just a boy who does the sheep. And David's like, what have I done? Like, am I not allowed to even speak? Siblings? Like, okay. I don't know about you, whether it's you with your sibling or you have kids, their siblings. This cracks me up because this is siblings. One being like, da 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 da, and then there was like, da, 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 back at them. I hope you got that. It's like a Charlie Brown moment. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up over here. But basically, I mean, it's just funny because I think as a parent, sometimes when you look like in the Bible, the siblings had problems. I mean, go back to Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, right off the bat. One brother killed the other one. So, there's a lot of issues with siblings in the Bible. So basically, David says, let no one lose heart on behalf of this Philistine or account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. And we know the rest of the story. David gets a sling and 5 stones. He goes before Goliath. And he says the famous line, one of the best lines in the Bible. It's like Arnold's Schwarzenegger. Is that his name? I don't know why. Just a famous line from a famous movie. Let's go with that. And he says, you come at me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come against you. I love this part. In the name of the Lord Almighty. David does not back down. Looking at my cats, Zuko never backed down. Appa, on the other hand, not so much. But I want to be like Zuko. I want to have that boldness to never be swayed or never be like lose my ground because I feel intimidated or feel like a situation is surrounding me. The Israelites, they were terrified. They ran, they hid, they made up excuses. I've probably done that way more times than I have stood my ground. But I want to change that. I want to have way more times of being like David, who was like, no, this is unacceptable. And I'm going to do something about this. Because, David he had boldness, not because it was in himself. And I'm not telling you, stand your ground because you're so great. We're not great, okay? But we can have boldness because we have God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit all backing us up. What more do we need? You've got the 3 parts of the Trinity that are amazing. You have nothing to fear. You don't have to be like Appa and go find a spot and hole up there until the enemy leaves you alone. No, we can stand our ground. And I think the more we do it, the more the enemy's going to be like, no, let's not bother them today because it's too much work. Wouldn't that be awesome if the enemy was like, yeah, they just are so firm. They are unfazed. When I come at them, they are unfazed. So let's just leave them alone. How awesome would that be, you guys? Like I said, I never thought I'd do a podcast on animals, but here we are. And I hope that my tale of 2 cats and a dog have given you something to think about. And just by the way, I'm not saying that my dog Teddy is Goliath. Not my dog, my grand puppy is not Goliath. I just want to give a little shot, make sure you understand that. So, reminder, we can walk in boldness. Be bold, be firm. Not in your own strength. You don't have to do it alone. Call on the Trinity and be like, okay, boys, let's take care of this. And let's stop shrinking back from the enemy when he comes at us. And guess what? If you've failed in this before, let's grow together. Let's dive into the Trinity and knowing that they're behind us, they're backing us, they're for us, which is all scriptural. And let's do this and let's make that enemy think, be like where Teddy was running. It was like, nope, enemy's coming. Nope, not going to mess with that person today. We got this.